The gun went off at 9:03 p.m. One clean shot. The kind fired by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The elevator doors slid open anyway. Nana stepped out. She had a filing deadline. Nobody in this building was going to make her miss it. The boardroom had two men. One was on the floor. The other was Kai, standing at the window, jacket still perfect. He didn't turn around. "You should have taken the stairs tonight, Ms. Asante." She didn't scream, didn't run. "I need to file the Inchin contracts by midnight." Kai turned. He looked at her like something that had surprised him for the first time in years. Not warmth, not threat, curiosity. "Then go file them." She did, hands steady, until she was completely alone. That was her first night at KS Group. It was not her worst. Nana came to Seoul for one thing, a number with enough zeros to bury a debt that had followed her family for years. Ghanaian British, Accra-born, London sharpened. The kind of woman who made men uncomfortable just by being better. She was good at her job. That was never the problem. The problem walked in on day 6, without knocking. Kai stared at her compliance report like it had offended him. "You flagged the Busan shipment. 3 documentation gaps. That's my job. That shipment closes $200 million. Then it should have had its paperwork in order." He looked up, like she was a variable he hadn't accounted for. "Do you know who I am?" "The man whose name is on my contract, in my office without an appointment." Silence, the kind that made grown men sweat. Nana held it, without blinking. "The shipment gets cleared. Get me the documentation. I'll clear it myself." He left. The paperwork arrived within the hour. Perfect. She cleared it, then made a private copy of every original gap. Nana Asante had not survived this long by being naive. The dinner invitation came on a Wednesday, a card on her desk. No email, no calendar request. Dinner. Tonight. 8 p.m. Kai. No question mark. She wrote 2 letters on the back and returned it before lunch. No. By Friday, the whole floor knew. By Monday, executives were watching her the way people watch someone touch a flame and not burn. He asked again. Elevator. Just the 2 of them. "Dinner, Ms. Asante." "Still no." "You didn't ask where." "Wouldn't change my answer." 3rd time, buried in a meeting agenda. She crossed it off in red ink, handed it back without a word. 4th time, late. Empty room. Just them and the city beyond the glass. "Why do you keep saying no?" "Because you keep asking without wanting to know anything about me." She stood. 4 invitations. You don't know what I'm afraid of. What I gave up for this chair. What it costs a woman like me to walk into rooms like this and refuse to shrink. She picked up her bag. "You look at me like I'm something you've decided you want, not someone you're curious about. I've been an acquisition before. I know how that story ends." Something shifted behind his eyes. "No one has ever said that to me," he said quietly. "Then it's about time." She walked out. Kai stood there staring at the door, like a man who just realized the game has completely different rules than he thought. She'd said no, and instead of losing his interest, it had started something he couldn't name, and couldn't stop. The truth about KS Group came in pieces, small enough to explain away, until there were too many to ignore. A subsidiary, KS Meridian, buried in a 2019 audit trail, container routes through 3 ports, no customs declarations on the Korean side. She flagged it. Nothing. Flagged it again. Still nothing. She pulled the file herself, and the further she went, the quieter the building felt. Meridian wasn't logistics. It was a tunnel. Pharmaceutical shipments with no licensed supplier. Shell entities across 3 countries. Contracts worth more than some governments spent in a year. Her hands stopped on the keyboard. She finally understood what room she had walked into. The door opened. Kai. No jacket. Past 9. He looked at her screen, then her face. How far did you get? Far enough. Ask me. Is any of this legal? Parts of it. Which parts? The parts with your name on them. That's not reassuring. Wasn't meant to be. You knew this company was complicated before you said yes. I said yes to a compliance role. You said yes to a number. Everyone does. The question is what they do when they find out what it costs. What did the others do? He looked away. And you're telling me this because? Because you won't. Silence. Taut as wire. I won't look away, she said. But I won't be used either. My name stays clean. The moment that changes, I walk. And everything I've found walks with me. Something crossed his face. Quick. Gone. Understood. Go home. You haven't slept in 2 days. I haven't. Then sleep. You're more useful to me rested. She sat alone after he left, looking for the part where she should have been more afraid. She found it. Just wasn't sure it was enough to make her leave. The Shin network didn't send a threat. It sent flowers. White lilies. Friday morning. A USB drive tucked between the stems. She left the flowers. Took the drive straight to Kai. His jaw tightened. The most visible reaction she'd ever seen from him. Don't plug it in. Don't touch your office until my team clears it. Don't walk to your car alone. I want to know who sent it. I know who sent it. Then why does it have anything to do with me? Because they've noticed something I should have been more careful about. What? That you're not replaceable to me. Flat, like a business fact. In my world, that makes you a target. The room felt smaller. What happens now? I deal with the Shin network. You stay close. Define close. My building, my floor, my terms. Your control, you mean. Your safety. Lower. Those aren't the same thing. She knew that. That was the problem. I'll stay. But I'm not cargo. I don't get moved without being asked. Agreed. First time he'd agreed to anything without redirecting it. She noticed. He knew she noticed. When she reached the door, Nana. First time he'd used her name. Don't walk to your car. I'll have someone take you home. Not a question. Not quite an order. Somewhere in between, where protection and something unnamed blur together. She left without answering, but she took the escort. Kai watched the car leave from his window, with the look of a man realizing the most dangerous thing in his world is no longer his enemies. It's what he's starting to feel, and he has no idea what to do with it. Shin stops sending flowers. Kai stops being careful. And Nana finds out how far a man like him will go when something finally matters. Follow. You don't want to miss what's coming. The hit came on a Tuesday. No warning. No parking garage. Just a fire alarm and 2 men moving up the stairwell instead of down. Nana didn't run. Running was loud. Panic got people caught. She moved the way her father taught her through Accra's markets. Purposeful. Like she knew exactly where she was going even when she didn't. She made it to the 12th floor before the second team found her. 3 men. She had her phone out, already dialing, when the corridor lights went out. 4 seconds of complete darkness. Then emergency lighting. Red and low. By the time her eyes adjusted, all 3 men were on the floor. Kai was standing in the middle of the corridor. No gun. He hadn't needed one. And he wasn't breathing hard. The stillness of a man for whom this was not extraordinary. His eyes moved over her fast. Are you hurt? No. Your phone. I was calling you. Something crossed his face, gone before she could name it. Come with me. She didn't push back. Black SUV, tinted windows, Seoul moving past like nothing had happened. Nana sat with her hands in her lap and her pulse still loud in her ears. They had someone on the facilities team, Kai said. We found him 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago. She turned. You knew before the alarm went off. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know where you were. Something underneath his level voice shifted. That won't happen again. You keep saying that. This time I mean it differently. She studied his profile. Hard jaw, hands completely still on his knee. The hands of a man who just put 3 people on a floor and was treating it like a Tuesday. Because it was a Tuesday. That was his life. What did they want? To send a message. Through you, not to you. Which means you're part of this war now. He looked at her directly. The Shin network wants my roots, my operation, and the compliance architecture you built. Clean books and a credible trade record are worth 3 times what a shadow operation generates. They want to take it. And they want me to know they can reach you whenever they choose. So I'm a weapon they're using against you. You're a person they're trying to make into one. There's a difference. And I won't let them. How? You're moving into the Hannum compound tonight. Kai, 2 weeks. My team dismantles the network. Your work continues. Nothing changes except your address. Everything changes. Yes, he said quietly. I know that. She looked at him. Just for a second, the control slipped, and she saw what was underneath. Not softness. Something rawer. A man sitting in the discomfort of having something he couldn't protect with the tools he'd spent his whole life sharpening. 2 weeks, she said. My terms inside that building, and you tell me the truth about the Shin network. All of it. A pause. All of it. He agreed. The compound was not what she expected. She expected cold. Steel and glass and emptiness built to intimidate. Her room faced east. She hadn't told him that. The kitchen was stocked with groundnut soup ingredients she hadn't seen since London. Her mother's brand of cocoa tea. The coffee machine set to her exact strength. She stood there for a long time, looking at all of it. Kai appeared in the doorway. You had someone go through my preferences. I pay attention, he said. That's not the same thing. No, it's more deliberate. She turned. Why? He leaned against the door frame, and for a moment just looked at her. Somewhere between calculation and something that had nothing to do with strategy. Because you matter to the operation, he said, then quieter. And because I wanted you to be comfortable. Both things are true. The first answer is the one you're comfortable giving. Yes. And the second is the one that's actually true. She put the kettle on, needed something to do with her hands. Don't do that, she said, back to him. Don't say something honest and stand there like it cost you nothing. It's confusing. I know. I'm sorry. She turned around. Kai never apologized. In 7 weeks, she had not once heard that word from him. He looked almost uncomfortable. A man allergic to vulnerability, saying it anyway. You're not what I expected, she said quietly. Neither are you. She made 2 cups without asking. He took his without comment. They stood on opposite sides of the kitchen island, and the silence between them was different, less like a standoff. More like 2 people who'd stopped pretending they couldn't see each other. The truth about the Shin network came out over 3 nights. They wanted KS Group's routes, its legitimacy, specifically, the compliance architecture Nana had built. A company with clean books was worth 3 times any shadow operation. They don't just want to hurt you, she said on the 3rd night. They want what I built. Yes. So when they came for me in that stairwell, acquisition, he said, not a message. The words sat between them. You could have kept pieces of this from me, she said, given me enough to stay compliant. Yes. Why didn't you? Because that would have been using you. He held her gaze. I told you I understood the difference. She stood to leave, stopped at the door. The Meridian file. You let me find it. A pause. I needed to know what you'd do with it, he said. I haven't trusted anyone in this building in 11 years. I needed to know if you were different. And? You kept private copies, not to use against me, as insurance, for yourself. Something moved in his expression. That was the smartest thing anyone in this company has done in a decade. She stood in the doorway a long moment. Good night, Kai. Good night, Nana. She lay on top of her covers, fully dressed, staring at the ceiling of a compound that was starting to feel less like a cage. That terrified her. Not because it was wrong, because it wasn't. The smear piece dropped on a Thursday. She saw it before she was fully awake. KS Group's foreign compliance head, hired for proximity, not performance. 400 words that took everything she'd built and reframed it as decoration. A Ghanaian British hire placed in a senior role not for her qualifications, but for optics, for proximity. It stopped just short of saying mistress. It didn't need to. 10 years. Every room she'd fought to stand in. Reduced to this. She was in Kai's study before she'd made a conscious decision to move. He looked up, read her face before she said a word. I've seen it. Fix it. Her voice cracked. Just once. Just at the edge. I have spent my entire career being twice as good, so people would give me half the credit. I will not let anyone turn that into a rumor about who I'm sleeping with. Fix it. Or I walk. And everything I've saved since week 1 walks with me. He was on his feet before she finished. I will fix it. Not because you're threatening to leave, because what they've done is wrong. He stopped close enough that she had to look up to hold his gaze. I see you, Nana. I have always seen you. That's not enough. I know, which is why I'm going to do something about it, publicly. Don't make promises in private you can't keep in public. I never make promises I don't keep. Fix it, Kai. 4 days. 3, she said, and left him standing there with the look of a man who'd just been given a deadline by the one person he wasn't willing to disappoint. He fixed it in 2. The gala. 400 guests. Every rival network watching from the edges. Nana wore deep gold, structured at the shoulder, fitted everywhere else. The kind of dress you wear when you've decided to take up every inch of space available and dare someone to comment. She was mid-conversation with a port director when the room shifted. Kai had taken the microphone. He never did that. Some of you read a story this week about our head of international trade compliance, he said, and the room went quiet fast. I want to correct it. Nana went still. Nana Asante rebuilt our compliance architecture in 7 weeks. She found gaps my last 3 compliance heads missed in 4 combined years. She recovered $34 million in flagged losses in her 2nd month. She has told me no more times than anyone in this organization has in a decade. A pause. She is here because she is exceptional. Anyone who suggests otherwise has a specific reason for wanting this company to look smaller than it is. He stepped off the stage, walked straight across the ballroom, not stopping for anyone, until he was standing in front of her. You didn't have to do that in front of everyone. Yes, I did. You told me not to make promises in private I couldn't keep in public. She looked at him. Really looked. The way she hadn't let herself since the kitchen, since the study, since every moment something true had moved between them, and she'd chosen to step back. That wasn't the action of a man who sees me as an asset, she said. No, he said. It wasn't. Kai, I don't know how to do this, he said quietly. I know how to run an operation. I know how to protect what matters to me. I don't know how to stand in front of someone and say they matter without it sounding like acquisition. It doesn't sound like acquisition, she said softly. Then what does it sound like? A man figuring out the difference between wanting something and choosing someone. He was quiet. Have I figured it out? You're getting there. And for the first time, in front of everyone who had doubted her, Nana reached out and took his hand. He looked down at it, then at her, the most controlled man in the room, completely undone, not trying to hide it. She decided that was the bravest thing she'd ever seen him do. They left early. Not running, walking, his hand still holding hers, through the lobby and into the cool Seoul night. They stood on the venue steps. The noise of the gala fell away, just them and the skyline. "The compound," she said. "It doesn't feel like a cage anymore." "What does it feel like?" She looked at him, dangerous, armor completely off, waiting for a woman who'd said no 4 times to tell him what they were. "Somewhere I chose to be," she said, "not somewhere I ended up." He exhaled slowly. "Nana, I want to ask you something, and I need you to know it's not an acquisition, it's an actual question. Ask it." "Can I kiss you?" She made him wait. The way she'd made him wait through 4 dinner invitations and 3 weeks in his compound, and 7 weeks of being the most unsettling presence in his world. Then she stepped forward and kissed him first. His hand came up to her face, careful, like something he didn't want to break. Then she felt it. The exact moment Kai stopped calculating, stopped managing the distance between what he felt and what he let show. He kissed her back like a man who'd been holding something for a very long time and had finally been given permission to set it down. Completely honest. Which she was beginning to understand was the rarest thing he knew how to give. When they broke apart, the city was still there. The Shin network was still a problem. Her files were still on a server only she could access. Nothing had changed, except everything that mattered. Kai rested his forehead against hers. "Still not an acquisition," he said quietly. "No," she agreed. "It's a choice. Mine. Freely made." He looked at her like that was the most significant thing anyone had ever said to him. Maybe it was. The hit didn't come with a warning. It came on a Sunday morning. Her mother's voice, calm, in the way Ghanaian mothers are calm when they're terrified. "Nana, there are men outside the house, since last night." She was on her feet before the sentence finished. "Back room, lock the door, don't open it for anyone." She hung up and walked straight to Kai's side of the compound. He was already awake, already dressed, he knew. 20 minutes, she said. "You've known for 20 minutes. I was getting the full picture. Those are not the same 20 minutes for me as they are for you. You're right, I'm sorry." He turned his phone toward her. Live feed. Her mother's street. 3 men. Exactly as described. They're a message, not an action. Not yet. I have people moving to Accra now. She'll be relocated before noon, with your permission, and hers. "This is my fault," he said quietly. "I made you visible. I didn't move fast enough. That's on me." She didn't argue. He was right. Fix it, and never make me find out things 20 minutes late, not about my family. Understood. 4 hours later, her mother called from the safe house. "The house is very nice. There is a garden." A pause. "Who is this man? This Kai?" Nana looked across the room at him, leaning against the wall, giving her the call without crowding it. "He's my employer," she said. Her mother made the sound that meant she'd already decided otherwise. "Is he good to you?" "He's getting there," she said. The next morning, Kai put a document on the table. The Shin network had filed a formal complaint with the Korean Financial Intelligence Unit, alleging KS Group's compliance department was built to conceal activity, and that its foreign head was a knowing participant. Her name. In a government filing. Career-ending allegations. She read it once. Gave herself 30 seconds to feel it. The fear, the fury, the exhaustion of doing everything right and still ending up here. 30 seconds. Then she sat forward. "They reframed my meridian closures as concealment, which means someone inside gave them the audit trail." "Had," Kai said. "Past tense. As of this morning." "How do we respond?" "We open the full compliance record, voluntarily, before they can request it. Let the work answer for itself. That includes Meridian. That's a risk to you." Your name is not going into a government filing as a criminal, he said. Whatever it costs me, it costs me. She looked at him. 10 years. Every room. Every fight. She had never once had someone say the cost didn't matter. We do it together, she said. It's my record. I present it. I know. I was counting on that. 72 hours. She barely slept. At 3 a.m., Kai pulled a chair next to hers. Show me where you are. I'll go through it with you. They worked until 4:30. He caught 2 gaps she'd missed from exhaustion. When she sent it, he closed the laptop. I'm scared, she said quietly. Not of them. Of what happens if the record doesn't matter. It matters, and if the system fails it, the system answers for it. That scares me too. You making sure of things. It makes me look like a woman who needed protecting. You needed the fight to be fair, he said. That's not protection. It's just removing the cheating. She was too tired to argue, too honest to pretend he was wrong. Thank you, she said, for all of it. You don't have to thank me. I know. I wanted to. She slept. He stayed at the desk until morning. She knew. Fresh coffee was waiting when she woke. The FIU cleared it in 8 days. Formal statement. The complaint had been filed with falsified supporting documentation, the Shin Network's name attached to it. Nana closed her eyes, breathed out 3 weeks of fear in one exhale. When she opened them, Kai was watching. It's done, she said. It's done. Your mother goes home in 2 weeks. The Shin Network. What happens now? I finish it. I'm not asking you to stop, she said. I'm asking you to come back. He stilled. Nobody has ever asked me that, he said. I know. I'm asking now. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair from her face, hand against her jaw, just holding. I promise, he said. She put her hand over his. Then go. Finish it. 11 days. She ran the department, called her mother every morning, pretended her chest wasn't tight every hour his chair sat empty. His team updated her every 48 hours. She replied with one word. Understood. On the 11th night, the compound door. She was in the kitchen. She didn't move. Footsteps. Then the doorway. Kai. Tired in a way she hadn't seen before. A cut above his eyebrow, healing, otherwise intact. You're late, she said. Relief crossed his face. At the ordinary. At late sounding like missed dinner. Traffic, he said. She crossed the kitchen and put both hands on his chest. Felt him breathe. In one piece, she said. Mostly. Is it done? Done. Network dismantled. Your mother goes home tomorrow. She exhaled. Completely. His hands covered hers. I thought about you, he said. The whole 11 days. That was new. I thought about you too, she said. I was furious about it. That sounds right, he said. She laughed. He almost smiled, and his face did the thing it had been doing more lately. Opening just slightly. Come eat, she said. You look like you haven't in days. 3. Sit down. He sat. She moved around the kitchen and he watched her like a man who had decided somewhere across 11 days that he didn't need his defenses here. Not with her. They ate. Talked about nothing. Her mother's garden. A restaurant neither of them had gotten to. A contract she'd fixed while he was gone. Easy things. 2 people finding out what they are on the other side of surviving something. When he finished, she took his plate. Sleep, she said. He stood. Paused. Nana. She turned. He kissed her, not like the gala steps. No careful permission, just direct. Decided. She kissed him back the same way. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers and breathed out, like a man setting down something he'd carried for 11 days. Tomorrow, he said. Tomorrow, she agreed. He went to bed. She stood in the quiet kitchen, in a compound that had stopped feeling like a fortress, and thought about what it meant to walk into the most dangerous room in Seoul and come out the other side still entirely herself. Still Nana. Still sharp. Still the woman with the red ink and the filing deadline nobody was going to make her miss. Just also, now, this. A choice. Freely made. On her own terms. She turned off the light and slept, for the first time in 11 days, without her phone face up on the pillow. The conversation happened the next evening. Both of them had spent the day circling it. The way you circle something that matters too much to rush. Kai found her on the upper terrace. She had wine and her laptop, half working, half watching the city shift from gold to gray. He sat beside her without asking, the way he'd stopped asking about small things weeks ago. He looked at the city. She let him. "You said you wanted to talk about what comes next," he said. "I did." She closed the laptop. "My contract is up in 6 weeks," she said. "The FIU submission is done. The Shin network is gone. My mother is home. The reasons I stayed in the compound are mostly resolved." "Mostly," he said. "Mostly," she agreed. "Ask me," he said. "Whatever it is. Honestly." She turned to look at him. "What do you want from me? Not from the compliance department. Not from the legitimacy I give this company. From me, Nana, the person." He was quiet long enough that she knew he was finding the honest answer instead of the easy one. "I want to know what you're afraid of," he said. "You told me that's what I never asked. You were right. I want to know what you gave up to sit in that chair, what you want the next 10 years to look like." He paused. "I want to be in the room when you figure it out, not to direct it, just to be there." She looked at him. "That's a very different answer than I expected." "I've been practicing," he said, completely serious, which made it somehow funnier. She smiled. Small, real. "Kai, what we are inside this compound, I don't know if it survives the outside, where you're still who you are and I still need my name to be my own before it's anybody else's." "I know," he said. "There will always be someone who decides what our story is before we've told it. I can't control that." He leaned forward. "What I can do is make sure that every room I'm in, every table I sit at, the record is straight. Not to protect you, because it's true and I won't sit on truth to keep the peace." "That's what you did at the gala," she said. "That's what I'll always do," he said. "Not as a gesture, as a fact." She held his gaze. "I renewed my contract this morning," she said. He went still. "Before this conversation," he said. "Before this conversation. 6 months, renegotiated title, 30% raise, asked for in writing, got it without pushback, which means I should have asked for 40. Something moved at the corner of his mouth. "You should have asked for 40, he agreed. "I'll remember that." She set down her glass. "I renewed it because the work is mine, and I'm not walking away from it because things got complicated, but I need you to understand something clearly." "Tell me." "I am not staying for you," she said. "I'm staying for me, and you. If this is what we're doing, you are a separate decision, one I'm making because I want to, not because I'm here and it's convenient." "Understood," he said. Most men would argue with that. "I'm not most men." "No," she said. "You're not." Below them, Seoul moved through its evening. 11 million people living ordinary lives while 2 people on a terrace decided what they were. "So," Kai said. "So. You're staying." "I'm staying. And we're figuring it out," she said. "Together. Without a strategy. Without you deciding the outcome before I've weighed in." "That's going to be difficult for me," he said. "I know. I'm going to enjoy watching you try." And then Kai smiled. Not the cold, near smile from those first weeks. Something real. Something that changed his whole face. "You're going to make my life very complicated," he said. "You made mine dangerous," she said. We're even. Her mother called the next morning. 10 photos of the sitting room, 3 of the garden. A voice note that was just the sound of her walking through each room saying its name like she was greeting it. Nana listened twice, then sent a voice note back. No words. Just soul from the terrace. Traffic and wind and a vendor calling out below. Her mother would know what it meant. Kai appeared with 2 coffees. Hers exactly as she liked it. Board meeting in an hour, he said. I know. I sent the compliance quarterly this morning. I read it, he said. It's good. It's excellent, she said. But thank you. He sat down. They drank their coffee in the morning light, the city below them, the day ahead, the work and the complication, and the careful ongoing negotiation of 2 people who had found each other in the worst possible circumstances and decided to stay anyway. Kai, she said. Yes. The restaurant in Itaewon, tonight, after the board meeting. A dinner, he said. An actual dinner, in public, where anyone can see us and draw whatever conclusions they want. And I don't care, because I know what the truth is and so do you. Is that a yes to dinner? He said, after 4 no's in 3 months. It's me choosing it, she said. There's a difference. I know the difference, he said quietly. You taught me. She stood, picked up her coffee. Don't be late, and Kai? Yes. Wear something that isn't black. He looked down at his black shirt, black trousers. I don't own anything that isn't black, he said. Then today, she said, walking inside, is a good day to start. He sat on the terrace with a look his entire organization would not have recognized. Completely, helplessly, at ease. The restaurant was small and warm, a corner table waiting, because when Kai's assistant called, tables appeared. She noticed, didn't comment. Some things she was learning to receive. They talked, really talked. The way they'd started in the compound kitchen but never quite finished. She told him about Accra, the debt, the mathematics of growing up knowing exactly what your family's stability cost. About London, the first compliance job, the senior partner who told her she presented well for someone with her background, and what she'd done with that fury. Turned it into the most thorough audit that company ever produced, and handed him the invoice with her rate on it. Kai listened completely, eyes on her face like she was the most important information in the room. You've been productively angry for a long time, he said. Some of it has somewhere to go now, she said. That helps. Tell me something, she said. Not about the company. He was quiet a moment. I grew up in Busan, he said. My father ran a small freight company. Honest, careful. It failed anyway. The networks in that port didn't allow for honest. He looked at his glass. I was 19 when it closed. I watched him spend the next decade smaller than he'd been before. I decided I wouldn't be small. A pause. I didn't think enough about what that would cost. Would he recognize you? She asked. Parts of me, he said. The precise parts. The ones that never do anything they don't mean. He looked at her. Those parts, yes. She put her hand over his. He turned his hand over and held hers. They stayed like that, 2 people in a warm restaurant holding hands over a table. Perhaps the most ordinary thing either of them had done in months, which made it feel, because of that, extraordinary. I want to meet him, she said. Your father. Kai looked at her. He'll like you, he said finally. Of course he will, she said. I'm very likable. Something broke open in his face. Real laughter, quiet, genuine. The laugh of a man who hadn't used that muscle in long enough that it surprised him. She stored the sound of it somewhere private. Now order, she said, straight-faced. I've been thinking about the galbi since Tuesday. They walked back. Not because it was close. It wasn't. But the night was cool and neither of them reached for the phone to call the car. His hand found hers somewhere around the second block. Neither of them made a decision about it. They stopped on a bridge over the Han River. The city doubled in the water below. Lights, movement, everything glittering. "I've lived here 15 years, Kai said. "I've never stopped on this bridge." "Never?" "There was never a reason to slow down," he said. She looked at him in the city light, the fading cut, the navy shirt that suited him. She wasn't going to tell him yet. "I came here for a number," she said. "I got it. My mother's house is paid for. The debt is done." She turned to him. That was supposed to be the whole story. Get in, do the work, go home. "And now?" he said. "And now I'm standing on a bridge at midnight with the most complicated man I've ever met, and I'm not ready to go home." She held his gaze. "You weren't the plan." "I know," he said quietly. "Is that terrifying?" "Yes," he said, without hesitation. "Good, then we're even." He turned to face her fully. "Nana Asante," he said. "I'm in love with you. Simple, direct, no preamble." I don't know exactly when it happened. Somewhere between the elevator and the fourth no and the 4 a.m. compliance session. I've been trying to find the precise moment and I can't, which is uncomfortable for me. She looked at him. "It was the coffee," she said. "What?" "The first night you brought it to the study and left without making it mean anything. Nobody has ever just done things for me without needing me to notice." "I notice everything," he said quietly. "I just don't need you to know." "I know," she said. "That's the part I fell for." Something moved across his face, slow and complete. The full arrival of something he'd been holding at the edge of himself for months, finally allowed all the way in. He held her face in both hands. "I'm in love with you too," she said. "For the record." "I hoped," he said. "That's new for me." She laughed, soft and real. And he kissed her on the bridge over the Han River with the city spread out around them. Unhurried, certain. The kiss of two people who have both decided and are no longer in a hurry. When they pulled apart, she rested her head against his shoulder. He put his arm around her. They looked at the river and said nothing, because nothing needed to be said. After a while, she lifted her head. "Take me home," she said. He looked at her. Home. The compound. The east-facing window. The kitchen that had become as much hers as his. "Yes," he said. They walked off the bridge, into the city, into whatever came next. And Nana Asante walked into it exactly as she had walked into everything else, like she belonged there. Because she did. If this story held you from that first gunshot to this bridge, follow, share it with someone who needs it, and come back for the next one. I'll see you there.